What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Gonna be another Splatoon 3 video. This time I'm gonna be going through 5 tips to give you guys, to help you guys with ranked and help you guys easily rank up. Especially if you're a newer player or if you're somebody that's newer to Splatoon 3 and the Splatoon franchise as a whole. Really helpful, and this is probably some stuff you guys can actually really take into consideration. It would really help you guys a lot. So this is going to mainly be for like your solo queue. You can apply some of these to your, like when you stack with like at least a duo or more, because I know there is 2 separate ranked queues now, but mainly as a solo queue, a lot of really cool tips. So let's get right into it. If you guys like these types of videos, you guys want to see more in the future, I got a lot of Splatoon 3 stuff on the way. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video. I also do have a channel Discord. There is a link that in the description, so if you guys want to go over there and hop in the Discord, a lot of cool people over there and stuff as well. A lot going on over there, and a lot of future plans for that as well. So feel free to go over there and join the Discord. With that being said, let's hop right into this. I got 5 things. I don't know if there's going to be in any order. I think I'm just going to put them all in like just like 5 things. I don't think they're really in any order of like priority or anything. So number 1, don't rush into ranked. Now, this is the main one a lot of new players end up getting into, because a lot of new players, especially the ones that haven't played Splatoon 2 or even like Splatoon 1, or they've played Splatoon 1 but they're just coming back to the game after a couple years. Playing ranked day 1, at least when you're seeing this video, like the game's been out for about a day and a half, so playing ranked like day 1, even like within the first week, is really, really risky. Just because the matchmaking is all over the place, and you're kind of putting yourself at a really huge disadvantage with a number of things, which I'll go into and talk about in the rest of these, but mainly it's the matchmaking. Right now, you're having people that are, everybody starts out at the same rank, which is B+. No matter if you're a new player or if you're somebody that's been playing the game for a long time, they plop you right into the same tier, and your matches are kind of one-sided or are kind of iffy with the matchmaking, at least from what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing. You got teams that are stomping. There's a lot of stomp games. At the same time, you got games with like 2 really good players, and the other team will have like 1 or 2 good players and like 2 noobs on each team. It just comes down to whoever farms the noobs, and whichever like 2 veteran or like good players end up carrying the team the most. So I don't know. Wouldn't say the matchmaking is really the most balanced right now, and that kind of can throw you off, especially if you're a new player. If I were you guys, like, don't rush into ranked. Like, ranked is always going to be there. Like, you can go and get, if you want to get a high rank, especially for like a season or like overall like a high rank, there's plenty of time to do it, and there's no rush at all. Just because you want to hop into ranked day 1, it may not be the best idea. I'm not stopping you, and it's not the worst thing to do, but like there's just a lot of reasons why it's not a good idea, which I'll get into here in a little bit. Number 2, learn most of the maps before you hop into ranked. With the launch of Splatoon 3, there are still some maps that are from the previous games, whether the maps are from Splatoon 2 and they're the same maps. There's also some that are from Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 that got slight reworks and some little changes, and there's a bunch of new maps as well. If I were you guys, before you play ranked, at the very least, hop into Turf War when those maps are in the rotation. Just play on them in Turf War for a while, just to get a good grasp of the map and what it really does and how it flows and how it plays. I see so many people go into ranked playing like Clam Blitz or like even Splat Zones or even Rainmaker on a lot of these maps, and they don't even know how the map is supposed to flow, let alone they haven't even played on the map before. And they're playing on the map for the first time in a ranked match, and that's just not the way to go. It gives you such a disadvantage for your entire team, and it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. And you can eventually just really bypass a bunch of really stupid and really easy losses just for not knowing the map and learning the map in a ranked match, when you could have spent maybe like an hour or 2 playing on those in Turf War and just learning the map that way mostly and just going from there. Number 3, master at least 3 weapons before hopping into ranked full grind and full force. The main reason to this is, I'm sure there's some people saying, well, I'm really Well, I'm really good with a certain weapon, and I'm really good with like a charger, or like a blaster, or like some of the dualies, or like a certain weapon in the game. I can just slay, and I can just carry games with this weapon. Why would I need to learn at least 3 weapons or more than 3 weapons? Well, the main reason for that is there's so many maps in this game, especially like in randoms. If you're playing solos, you're kind of to the mercy of whatever like the solo players actually play. It's not really much of a problem if you're stacking because you can kind of coordinate whoever you're playing with. But if you're playing randoms and solos, you're kind of at the mercy of whatever they're playing, and they kind of can throw off your team comp and that way as well, which you can't really control. But it's mainly the maps. There are maps in this game that some weapons have really good strengths on, and a bunch of really bad weaknesses. There are some maps, for example, that like blasters and chargers are insanely incredibly good on, and then there's a really hefty handful of them that are blasters and like chargers and a few other weapons that are just really bad on, and you're better off just switching weapons and learning something else or playing like a different weapon for those types of maps. It depends on what maps are in rotation, but depending on the maps that are in rotation, it's always better to learn more than one weapon and master more than one weapon. I'd say at least like the least that you should have is at least 3. I think 3 is a really solid amount, especially for how many maps are in the game right now. And it just gives you so much more of an advantage. And you don't have to worry about like the weaknesses and the strengths of having one weapon, only being able to play one weapon. You can kind of switch off and kind of play accordingly to whatever's in rotation with the maps. Number 4, have at least one full gear build for the weapons that you're playing. And it would even be better if you can actually have an individual like builds for your gear for every single weapon you play, which would be great. Which I know takes a lot of time and a lot of grinding, which eventually people are going to be able to do. At least for like the start of the game, for like the first month of the game, as long as you can build like a gear build with like that kind of is based around the majority of the weapons you can play, not really fitting like every single weapon individually, but like at least helps the majority of the ones that you do play. It just gives you so much of an advantage over the other players that are just running like a random gear. They just throw gear on and they don't have like anything. They have a bunch of random perks and random stuff, like they have random quick respawn, a bunch of random stuff on their gear, and then you have a coordinated gear that's fully built. It gives you so much of an advantage. It's not even funny how much of an advantage it actually gives you over a lot of other random people. Like just based off of that alone, it can improve your gameplay so much and give you so much of an advantage where you can actually just rack up some really easy wins, because that's just how powerful gear and having a full gear build can be in certain cases. And it's not really to be underestimated at all. It really ain't. As long as you at least have one full gear build, though, especially, that's why I said not to hop into rank and don't rush into ranks, because it's one of the things that can give you such an advantage, especially over a lot of the other newer players, or like the players that are even in your lower tier of ranked games, and just help you fly through your lower to mid tiers of ranked, all the way up to your S plus tier games where it starts getting to be kind of competitive. And then last but not least, play your role your weapon dictates. I don't know how many times people go into ranked. It was for the same case for last game too. You'll have people that are playing a bunch of random weapons, but they're not playing their role at all. If you guys don't know, I'll be making an entire separate video. So if you guys want to stay tuned for this video, that'll be releasing probably here within the next week or two, talking about all the 4 like actual roles for the game and what they're supposed to do, what weapons they're supposed to play, and stuff like that. I'll be making a video talking about that as well. But just to put it simple, there are 4 roles in the game for mainly all your weapons that they all kind of fall into. There's Slayer, there's Mid, there's Backline, and there's Support. Slayer are the weapons that don't really care about painting. They are just pure damage, and their main priority is to kill the enemy team and get as many kills as possible and kind of push objectives, that type of thing. Mid is your mid-range type weapons. They're not really close range. They're your mid-range type weapons. They don't really paint the best, but like it's just their main thing on your team is just to have like a different type of range of weapon, so you're not stuck between like close range and long range. They're kind of a separation between ranges and give you more diversity in range. They're mainly to help the Slayer and kind of support the support and kind of the backline, kind of do everything. if I were to put it in like simple terms. You got your support, which their main priority is keeping the map your color, painting as much as possible, throwing out as many ults and as many specials and tacticals as possible, and keeping the map your color, assisting with kills, assisting with objectives, that type of thing is what your support is supposed to be doing. And then you got your backline, which is going to be like your chargers, your splatlings, your stuff like that that have long range, that are going to sit in the back line a long ways away from the rest of your team, like past the medium range or like kind of in the back line. That's why they're called backline weapons. And kind of just providing support or really heavy damage amount and just throwing out ults and helping support your team from the back line and providing overall the most range for your team and for your team comp. That's kind of what the 4 roles are. I don't know how many people in my games will play like a charger and then they'll play like right up in somebody's face. Like they're playing a dapple dualies or like they're playing dualies or like a blaster or like something like that's close range. If you're a charger, you're not supposed to be fighting up in somebody's face. I'm sorry, that's not how it's supposed to work. If you can understand at least at the very least what weapon you're playing and like what overall its role is supposed to be most times, you can kind of flex between some of them sometimes, depending on what weapon you're playing, which I'll talk about in an entirely different video. But just to keep it simple, as long as you know what you're supposed to be doing and what your weapon dictates, it'll make your job so much easier. It'll make your team's job so much easier. And as long as everybody on your team at least somewhat plays their role on the team, it just makes it so much easier. Your team will be so much more coordinated. And you'll get a lot more easy wins. I don't know how many, like I said, I don't know how many people just go into ranks and then they just play a random weapon and they don't play their role. You'll have NZAPs that are playing like Slayers or like backline weapons. They'll sit and paint by their spawn and just paint the entire game and don't do anything else, which is fine in certain cases, but you gotta do more than painting. Like there's a lot of other certain cases which I can talk about in an entirely different video. I have so many, but overall that's kind of what the gist is. And that's all I have for you guys right now. So if you guys like these types of videos, hopefully these help you guys rank up. These are just some of the stuff I've learned over the years, especially for playing Splatoon 2 for like over 1,000 hours. I'm probably going to have well over 1,000 in Splatoon 3 starting out. So if you guys want to stop by as well, I do stream Splatoon 3 and a bunch of other stuff on the channel. So if you guys want to stop by when I'm live, feel free to subscribe so you do not miss when I'm live. And subscribe, share the video if you guys like these videos. And if it does well, I'll keep on bringing you guys some Splatoon 3 stuff. So I got a tier list. I would like to do a tier list eventually here over this next week. I got a bunch of other stuff. Like I said, a role guide, kind of talking about what weapons fit into what roles and what they're supposed to actually do and break it down in depth about everything. That type of stuff. So if that's what you guys like to see and you guys are here for, subscribe so you don't miss it. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for stopping by, y'all. And I'll see you guys in a future video.